Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about, and I just find it so amusing to talk about this topic. As you know, it is something that I have been saying for a long, long time, and it's something that validates and vindicates my thought process on politics, especially the Democratic Party. So, to my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. And I was the first person in all of YouTube to say that Clinton is going to run again. Nobody thought that she would be able to, nobody thought that she would think of running. Now you have Hillary Clinton muses about 2020 rematch against Trump. I can defeat him again. Did Clinton defeat Trump? No. I can beat him again, she says. That never happened. She won the popular vote. The popular vote does not give you the presidency. Somebody should tell Madam Secretary and the Democrats, who are the smartest people in the room always. They're always the smartest, most moral, most virtuous people, except they cheat. Bernie Sanders was cheated. And then they blamed Russia. And now there's 3.5%, a record low, 50-year record low in unemployment. President Trump signed the First Step Act. President Trump is bringing Americans home from endless conflict. He is the first president to step foot in North Korea. Joseph, thank you. Thank you. And Luke St. Martin, Eric H526, hello. And instead of simply saying, okay, he's a president we disagree with, he is the reason for everything wrong in the known universe, yet we can't impeach him. I was speaking to somebody, really nice guy today, who didn't like Trump. And I said, well, why don't Democrats simply just impeach him? He said, well, you know, we have to gather evidence. In my mind, though, I'm thinking, wait, don't you have, like, with all the hyperbole and all the, you know, the doomsday scenarios regarding President Trump, don't you have enough evidence? He worked with Russia. He obstructed justice. Then you have a hilarious article in the Daily Beast. Conservatives are convincing themselves that Clinton will run again. No, Clinton's running again. Like, even the Daily Beast, even Democrats are like, she's not running, okay? No, she's running. Why? Because Biden and Warren have such great campaigns? No. What's taking place is that Hillary Clinton wanted. There was some. Like, I have no clue when she's going to enter the race. It could be a week before Super Tuesday. But she'll enter the race. And I was the first person to say that she would. The only person for like 2 years in 2017. Read my article in the Huffington Post. And I wrote it when I was on the left. When I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Now I'm a Trump supporter, and I wrote that she was going to run when I was on the left. Now liberal publications are like, oh yeah, those conservatives, those Trump supporters, they really want Clinton to run. Well, what's the alternative for Democrats? The guy who fought cornflakes and grape nuts and is mired in his own controversies that he can't get out of? Because one thing about Biden is that he's not like Clinton, and he's certainly not like President Trump. Clinton can get away with anything, especially crimes that she's committed. Madam Cyberhack can transfer top secret intel onto servers outside of the United States government, and it's all good. Comey, no problem. Oh, it was a mistake. It was an accident. And then to make everything morally relative, they paved the way for Clinton 2020 by saying, "Oh, okay, he worked with Russia, and everyone around him has been indicted." So, wait, Canadian, hello, Hope all is well. But it's like, it's happening, people, and what's taking place is they're now going to spin this into, if the conservatives want it so badly, maybe we'll, because she wasn't thinking of it. The Golden Moo wasn't thinking of it at all, okay? But if Trump really wants it, yeah, no problem. It's on now. Oh, it's on now. If Trump wants it, it's on. It's all good. Let's run. We'll do this all over again. We want a rematch. A rematch. And if you don't think, she says just hours back or yesterday, so maybe there needs to be a rematch. Obviously, I can beat him again. Yesterday, she said, don't tempt me. The other month, she started a new foundation because the old one was too overt of a money laundering scheme. So there's a new foundation called the Onward Together Foundation. This is public record. And I kept on saying, it does not matter if Clinton wins this year or in 2020 because she'll run in 2024. It's a political machine. And it's going to take place, and I just have no clue, ladies and gentlemen. I find this fascinating. Absolutely. These are my favorite segments to do. Even though it's interesting, like now that like it's now that everyone's talking about it, people aren't intrigued anymore. I mean, they will be intrigued when she officially runs, yes, for sure. But like again, HA again, and everybody gives me props, and I'm thankful. And thank you to everyone for the kind words. HA, you're the first person to say it. But when it happens, okay, it'll be a new paradigm. Everything that I have stated about the Democratic Party, about politics in general, will be true. This is not about, okay, why do you think you have Hollywood celebrities hanging out with George Bush? George W. Bush was the worst president we've ever had, ever. He was the worst president we've ever had. Two horrendous catastrophes in terms of foreign policy interventions. Then you end the presidency with a horrible stock market crash and recession where banks needed to be bailed out. And then, to win re-election, you get a marriage amendment. But for some reason, the culture of going back into time and ruining people's lives doesn't affect George Bush. What foreign policy success can you attribute to George Bush? What foreign policy success can you attribute to Clinton? How about nothing? Absolutely nothing. But still, it's like, okay, let's revamp the image because the other day somebody told me I would vote for Mitt Romney over Trump. Well, that's exactly why people vote for President Trump. That's exactly. If liberals are okay with Mitt Romney, then you're basically admitting there's two sides of the same coin. Madam Cyberhack relies on allegiance, loyalty. Democrats rely on loyalty. Trump does not. That's why Trump is all over the place with his tweets. Even I would like him to tone down a little bit. Only when it comes to women. Like, I would rather him not, get into, disputes on the internet with women. Even me. And I'm a supporter of, President Trump. But see, the thing is, there's like zero pandering. Trump has gone after who? He went after Ann Coulter. He goes after anyone. If they go after him, he's going to counterpunch. You don't see that in the Democratic Party. Democratic Party is a machine, a public relations apparatus. And it's like they cheated Bernie Sanders, and they've yet to admit that they cheated Bernie Sanders. And then they wonder why Clinton's running again. Then they say, well, you know what? Conservatives have convinced themselves. She's really not running. Why would that be why would that be something egregious? Why would that be like, despite the lack of evidence, Clinton is planning a 2020 bid? You mean like an Onward Together Foundation? You mean like a DNC fundraiser where Politico stated that $80 million was funneled from down-ticket Democrats into her campaign in 2016, and she has a $50,000 a plate fundraiser at her mansion, and it's a DNC, yeah, because Clinton is known for fundraising for Elizabeth Warren and Biden. With Democrats, it's always there's always a lack of evidence on something that they don't agree with. But if it's a Steele dossier, we have to investigate. We have to investigate. Do it, Hillary. The week. Here. I told you. I didn't even see this one. This is great. Give the people what they want. Make America 2016 again. It's like, this is actually pretty interesting. Bonaparte had to leave Elba. Nixon had to sit down with Frost. Ali had to rumble in the jungle. Michael Jordan had to come back and win more championships. A third Hillary presidential campaign would be the most talked about, memed, discussed, and promoted, analyzed event maybe in the entire history of American Republic. It would end in the ratings for the debates with Trump would go into Super Bowl, even MASH finale territory. This is actually a great, great article. This is a great article. It's true. Jason B. Trump does not discriminate. He treats all his opponents the same. That's true. He does. That's one of the reasons why he's successful. Jason B. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. It's like, you know what it is right now? Now we're in the media cycle where, because I really don't think that Clinton wanted to really talk about it right now. I think she wanted to wait. She doesn't want people to think that she's been planning this the whole time. Okay? Madam Cyberhack she knows that Democrats of all people would be petrified, which is pretty hilarious. But when you when you say that, so maybe there does need to be a rematch. Obviously, I can beat him again. He remains obsessed with me. How obsessed he is? So obsessed, yes, because he's, oh my goodness, because all the evidence that you purchased for a fabricated probe that everyone else is going to go down for, yes, he's obsessed. Nothing has been more examined and looked at than my emails. How can that's not an accurate statement at all, and how can that be when you deleted 30,000 of them? And we have no clue how you were able to accept. How was Clinton able to accept top secret intelligence on her inbox, of all places? How was she able to store top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government? It makes no sense. Bucolic Buffalo! Trump, the equal opportunity offender. I love it. Yeah, you know what? It is a good thing. I guess at times, because even Trump can overstep boundaries, and I don't want, he hasn't really yet. To other people, he's, oh my God, he's gone He's overstepped a million boundaries. But you know what? It is good it is good how he fights back, which is what I like him doing with the intelligence community. Bucolic Buffalo, thank you. Ian Bloom, please make Trump fighting off his enemies in a sleep part of your regular content. Ian Bloom, you were here the other night when he was like, Ian Bloom. So everybody, I was saying that if there's anyone that will never ever let go of if there's anyone that will never ever let go of basically retribution, it's President Trump. So when he falls asleep, he's probably like, get you, Clapper, get you, Brennan. You just wait. I wasn't feeling it there, but it's just, when he's cuddling up and snuggling up, and people are so frightened. When did she say that she was going to run? Oh. Yeah, she's running. Don't worry about it. She'll lose again. Democrats are run by Clinton. You think that Warren's going to win? You think that Biden's going to win? What, by turning into a reptile? She never said she was going to run. Yes, she did in her own way. It's called Clinton speak. She also said she survived Bosnia's sniper fire. That too didn't work. She never survived Bosnia sniper. She deleted 30,000 emails. They weren't about yoga. Sorry. If you're writing 30,000 emails about yoga, you're not doing yoga right. Sorry. Okay? They're going to lose again, and it's going to be not good for Democrats and liberals. Not good at all. We have no clue how they're going to react. Match Mac! 76 men sailed from the San Francisco Bay, got off the Debitas, and here's what they had to say. That is got to be lyrics from something. Match Mac, thank you. She is running. Johnny Ramone, hello, I love that. Match Mac, thank you. She's running, and it is going to be so hilarious. It's going to be so hilarious to see Democrats, liberals, progressives, all of their condemnation, all of their moral superiority complex, all of their judgment, and they're going to have to vote again for somebody they don't want. Warren and Biden have zero chance, essentially zero chance, of not only defeating President Trump, because Warren does not have national appeal. She got off the airplane. There was nobody was there except Trump supporters the other day. Nobody was there aside from Trump supporters. So it wasn't like it's not like she really doesn't have, this kind of appeal where you have Warren that is basically Bernie Sanders, perhaps more of a corporate type of Bernie Sanders. Okay? They're not interested in Medicare for all. If they were, Trump would have already vetoed Medicare for all. So they're like, she's not running. She never said she was going to run. Yes, she's running. And by the way, does anyone think that it's my fault or I am? Clinton has no clue who I am. Probably very few people in her campaign maybe have heard of me. Maybe. This unbridled ambition has nothing to do with you or me. And it has nothing to do with Warren or Biden or anybody else. This was a fabricated theatrical performance. There's no way that on that debate stage, because look, why hasn't anyone, this is by design, why hasn't anyone brought up the failed DNA test? There's a reason for that. This is the funny thing about Democrats. We already saw the inner workings from their own grubby little hands, and still people think that, well, it's 3 strikes and you're out, and it's like, they still think that they're running a fair primary. They still think that that it's not rigged. And I really don't think that, I think that both Clintons, I think that Madam Cyberhack has the Democratic Party. I mean, you're talking about a political machine run by 2 people, so there is no Democratic Party. But the machine is going to rally around Clinton again. The polls are going to come out, and mark my words, the polls are going to come out, and they're going to say, you know what? Clinton wins. Clinton's is doing well nationally. Clinton wins. They're going to say that, Trump is down nationally, and you know what? He is the underdog now. He's not going to win unless something really weird comes out. And Democrats don't have any policies. There is no Medicare for all. There is no abolish ICE. There is no Green New Deal legislation. There's not even, where's the major legislation they passed through the House that Trump has to veto? Where can they say, look, Trump vetoed this bill, and we're trying to push it to better the lives of our voters? They're all going to be petrified, and what they've put this country through, the Democratic Party deserves all the enjoyment of having Clinton run again. She's going to run. She essentially vowed and promised a rematch. So maybe there needs to be a rematch. Obviously, I can beat him again. Then she's like, oh, well, nothing's been examined more and looked at than my emails. How so? You gave servers that were completely wiped clean with a cloth and bleach bit. How is that? You deleted 33,000 emails without government oversight. And then there were actually agreements that the Justice Department and the FBI signed with your campaign. Because her attorneys deleted 33,000 emails. That's called obstruction. The obstruction, okay, if you want to get technical, the obstruction is brass tacks. Thank you. The obstruction is that when the FBI actually began its probe and wanted to look at Clinton's servers, she gave them servers completely wiped clean. All right? In addition to a whole lot of other things that took place. For example, if they call Trump his words obstructive, she called it a security review. Then James Comey and Loretta Lynch called it a matter. So were they engaged in obstruction? No, it's only Trump's words that are obstructive. Then she's against President Trump bringing home Americans. This is exactly why I voted for Trump. Jill Stein, and I'm voting for Trump. This is exactly why I voted for Jill Stein, knowing that Trump would win. As a protest on the left, but at the same time, and she's like, I will say this, Jill Stein is honorable and Whereas I disagree with her politics now, just like I disagree with Bernie on a lot of things, at least she wants Americans home. Whereas, Bernie and now, of course, Clinton, like, oh, there has to be, we have to keep Americans there. It's like, no, President Obama sent Americans there. We should never have even gone there. Well, the Russians are there, so... It's interesting how they don't mind 20% of U.S. uranium capacity at one point being sold to Putin, but they don't want Putin in a region of the world that the road to you-know-where is paved with good intentions. President George W. Bush is now a rock star in the Democratic Party. They actually have a favorable view of Bush, which should tell you something about Democrats. And then they engage in hyperbole. Trump is a despot. Trump is horrible. Trump is this. Trump is that. Well, it's like, well, then why don't you impeach him? I guess you can't. Where's that Medicare for all? Where's that Green New Deal legislation? Julio, you. Hello. They just constantly, what they do is, ladies and gentlemen, they rely so much on the media that it actually it enables them to simply think that they're impervious to the fact that the entire planet knows they cheated Bernie Sanders, and the entire planet knows that Trump didn't collude with Russia. I mean, what have they been right on? The entire planet knows they're not going to pass Medicare for all. The entire planet knows they're not going to impeach. Well, they're very likely going to impeach Trump, but they're going to try to just milk the media coverage. I mean, CBS has a running ticker every day. Oh, the latest on Trump impeachment. Nobody cares. I mean, it used to get me upset. The Mueller special counsel got me upset. Now I don't care about. They can impeach Trump. I don't really care. In fact, I'd find it very amusing because it would force Republicans to back Trump. Sam Jage! I'm worried that no matter what Bar Durham find and move forward with won't be taken seriously. So many people are polarized, they won't care. Our rule of law seems inconsequential. Sam, you're 100% right. They won't care. They will not care. You could have we could find a handwritten note from Comey saying, we deliberately we knew that Clinton committed crimes. We didn't care. We covered it up. And they would be fine with it. They don't care at all. I think, though, Sam, and thank you, I think, though, that you're going to look at, I mean, this is like a 2 to 3 year thing. I think the investigation, Barr and Durham's investigation is going to go long past the election. Sam Jage, thank you. So, and at the end of the day, it won't matter. When Clinton loses again, the Democratic Party will be obliterated. The intelligence community, quote-unquote community, will slither towards President Trump, and you'll even see some more favorable coverage for Trump. The media will kind of try to gravitate towards Trump. I really think that. Tool God, kangaroos for Trump, bring Downer in front of Congress. Can't wait for Trump to win 2020. It's going to be bigger than Ben-Hur. Australia loves your work, mate. Go, you good thing. Tool God, thank you. Thank you. To the people watching in Australia, thank you so very, very much. Tool God, thank you so very much for the kind words. Yep, Alexander Downer. He is a very interesting character in all of this. And I believe Tool God, he took about tens of millions. I think one estimate was $30 million initially from Australian taxpayer money. Let's find out. How much in Australian taxpayer money? Alexander Downer, Australia millions. Clinton Foundation. So, 25 million. Oh, no, $37 million. So he's a former Australian Foreign Minister Alexander Downer secured $25 million from Australia into the Clinton Foundation, but there was also some more money. So $25 million wasn't the only money transfer. And so this is the man who gets this is the man who, found all the information from Papadopoulos, the guy who just happens to have $25 million while he's foreign minister. A donation to Australia. From Australia to the Clinton Foundation. No coincidence there. No coincidence at all. Mr. Downer played a key role in the Australian government awarding $25 million to the Clinton Foundation. And suddenly, he's now a part of all of this. And one would think that they'd want Mr. Downer in Congress, but no. No, they don't want to talk to him. They don't want to talk. Democrats are so transparent. They're like, can you believe what he said? He said that that Russia, had a lot of information, or, that Mifsud and Papadopoulos were speaking. Well, then why don't you have Downer speak to Congress, testify before Congress? What's the matter? How on earth did Republicans not demand Alexander Downer testify before Congress? That's what I don't get. I have no clue how that didn't happen. Did they even try? Eventually I'll find out, but it's pretty unbelievable, too. I mean, when you think about it, it's pretty unbelievable. Let's see. Alexander Downer, testify, Congress. Now, the Australian government agreed just recently with Scott Morrison, much different leader than his predecessor, aimed at discrediting the Mueller inquiry. Yeah. When they say that you just want to discredit the Mueller probe, yes, we do. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it should be discredited. Yeah. You just want to discredit the Mueller probe. Yeah, you should. You should discredit the Mueller probe because it's not credible at all. There was nothing credible there. Mueller didn't even know who Glenn Simpson and Fusion GPS were. So, when all of this goes down, the key here is Clinton is going to lose. It's a matter of what media and Democrats do. Until then, it's going to be a matter of what they do to try to convince people that Clinton's going to win, should win, that Trump is horrendous and only Clinton can save the country. So, but yeah, she's running again. Why would anyone? It was so hilarious too, because does anyone look? I mean, they got the memo. I mean, the memo was pretty. It's pretty obvious, the script that all of them have, from Beto O'Rourke to Klobuchar to everyone, Biden, Warren, Kamala Harris. It's pretty obvious, the script. Don't get too personal. You can try to kind of make a name for yourself, but don't get too personal. And try to be as gracious as possible, even when you're trying to make a name for yourself, and media will help you out. But certainly don't talk about any failed DNA test. Certainly don't talk about a claim of being something you're not. Certainly don't talk about. I mean, could you imagine if any of them bring up the Ukraine? The mentality will be, you're helping Trump, you're helping Trump. And that's the wrong mentality to have. Go back and listen, ladies and gentlemen. Gene Malzoom, thank you. Yeah. Gene, yeah, it's unbelievable. Alexander Downer is one of the key central figures in all of this. It's pretty interesting how, along with Christopher Steele, he's probably equal to Christopher Steele. Thank you, Gene. Go back and watch the Republican primary. I mean, they were at each other's throats. They were going after. It was a high-energy Jeb and Lion Ted and Little Marco and all that stuff. I mean, it was a battle royale, and they didn't stop. I mean, they were serious about really trying to win. And the Democrats got a memo. Look, we cannot repeat 2016. Everybody has to. You can't be too ruthless, because at the end of the day, Clinton's going to come in. So we have to create this facade that we have an actual political party. And we don't know when Clinton decides, but she will decide. And very likely the memo they got is Clinton might enter the race. So if she does, make sure that you don't muddy the waters too much. I remember I was on a radio show when I was on the left, and a very prominent liberal host, I was on his radio show, and I was going on and on about Clinton, saying that Bernie Sanders was better than Clinton. And he stopped me in mid-sentence, and he said, no, well, you don't want to muddy the waters too much. Or what did he say? You don't want to, hurt Clinton too much, if she's the eventual nominee. It's like, what? That's not the way to do things. If in a primary you're supposed to go for broke. In a primary you're supposed, and back then it was just a two-person, just two people, Clinton versus Bernie. But that's the thing. When Bernie Sanders said, I have enough of your emails, and I didn't want to admit it back then, he basically ended his campaign. You cannot compete if you're afraid of, he could have simply said, you know what, you did this, and that, and it's a criminal offense. And if people didn't like that, they didn't have, the same people who would have been offended are the same people who wouldn't have voted for Bernie. And people who would have been marginally offended if they liked him would have still voted for him. So it was a horrible thing. He should have simply said, yeah, you know what? But again, see, it's like they're so worried. Democrats are so worried about loyalty to an entity. They're not worried about, there is no meritocracy there. It's all a bunch of patronage. With Republicans, and I'm not a Republican. If it's not Trump, I'm not voting for Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio or Mittens. You won't see me voting for Mittens ever. The thing I like about Trump is, in addition to him going after corrupt intelligence officials, is that he's willing to fight, and he's completely different from both Mitt Romney and Clinton. They keep on demanding such loyalty from that's like the Democratic Party. We are now seeing, do you remember the Bush administration? Do you remember media during the Bush administration? Dan Rather lost his job for one story that was not exactly accurate. Now it doesn't matter if there's a story a week, a day that's not accurate. People never lose their jobs now. It's completely different. You think anybody would lose their job today if they published a story that was not accurate about Trump? That's basically the past 3 years. That's basically the past 3 years. I mean, but back then in the early 2000s and up until 08, 09, you had establishment Republicans and conservatives going overboard and on a whole lot of things. Krillin 876. Krillin 876, thank you. Richard Kruska, you're doing a good job, bud. Keep all the good work. The Democratic Party's in shambles. They stand no chance in 2020. I agree with you. Thank you so very, very much for the kind words. I don't think they stand a chance. I think there's a possibility. It depends on what they fabricate. It depends on what media does from here on. I think that Michael Moorhead, thank you. I think that I think Clinton's going to lose, depending on what they do in terms of fabricating a controversy, or I think that Clinton will lose. They could make it close. It could be close. But if you look at favorability ratings per state, so let's just, if you look at favorability ratings, because, Trump needs to win. If you go to 270 to win, you can actually see a really, really great interactive chart. So if you go to 270 to win, and you go to 2016. So if you go to 2016, of course they have the presidential map leaning towards Democrats, which is hilarious. Which is absolutely hilarious. But so if you go to 2016, it was 306 electoral college votes to 232. Now, if everything remains the same and they get Florida, it's still 261. But see, if they get Florida and Wisconsin, it's 271, 267. It's President Hillary Clinton. Now, I think Trump's going to get Florida, but I do think they'll get Wisconsin. They could get Pennsylvania. Now, Trump needs to get a combination of Michigan. He has to get Florida and at least 2 Midwest states. So Ohio and Michigan, or Ohio and Pennsylvania, but they have to get someone has to get Trump has to get Ohio, and I think that he can get Ohio. But the thing is, let's see. So let's just go back to 2016 actual. So let's see here. If you go to, okay, so where's 2016? Why is this so difficult now? Why is this not working? Okay, reset map. Okay, I want to reset. Oh, here you go. Reset map. If you go to 2016, 306 electoral college votes to 232. Okay, so Trump won, 30 states. But see, I think that they'll get Michigan and Wisconsin. So it's 258 to 280. Or, Trump might get Michigan. I think he'll probably get Michigan. But let's just say they get Wisconsin and Michigan. Or let's just say Trump gets Michigan, but they get Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. If he gets Michigan, Ohio, and Florida, he's won. Okay? Because every other state is pretty much this entire election is going to come down to 4 or 5 states. Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Florida. It'll come down to 4 states. And if you can add Wisconsin in there, but I don't think he's going to get Wisconsin this time around. I could be wrong. But Florida has 29 electoral college votes. I don't think Clinton's going to get Florida. And I don't think she's going to get the voter turnout that she needs. Democrats are relying on people having the most horrendous opinion of Trump. Now, the favorability ratings in Florida and Ohio for Trump are pretty good. 92% of coverage of Trump has been negative in the media. 92%. 92%. That's unheard of. Most presidents get, at least some favorable coverage. He gets nothing. When was the last time you heard a New York Times or Washington Post or CNN, Trump's a great president? And yet he's gonna just win again. But if you look at, let's say Democrats win Ohio and Pennsylvania, and so you see they would win. It would be 270 to 268. Even if he gets Florida, they win Ohio and Pennsylvania. But I don't think, with 500,000 new manufacturing jobs, a president that's addressing the trade imbalance with China, I don't think that, Michael Moorhead, thank you. I don't think that, thank you, Michael, thank you. I don't think that, but look, this is the thing. You're looking at 4 states where Florida and Ohio have actually almost positive favorability ratings for Trump. And I think that's important because when you consider the fact that there's such overwhelming negative coverage of Trump. Let's see. Morning Consult has a great interactive chart. Okay, so in Florida, he almost is only a -2 net approval. So he's barely underwater, which is a victory for Trump. I just don't think that Clinton is going to win Florida at all. Because you're basically even after 3 years of nonstop. He worked with Russia. He's going to end the universe. He's the most horrible person who's ever existed. If you're pretty much even in terms of favorability ratings, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's why I said in 2016 when I wrote in the Huffington Post, The Hill, and Salon, I said Clinton is unelectable. I looked at favorability ratings, but also in swing states. They didn't like Clinton in swing states. And then people say, well, Trump is underwater in terms of favorability ratings too. But Trump is the heel in a wrestling match. Clinton is not. Parabiology 101, hello. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. So there's 29 electoral college votes, and he's almost, neutral. He almost has a positive favorability rating there. In Ohio, I take -5 as a pretty good thing. And neighboring Indiana is up 2. Okay? Now, Pennsylvania and Michigan, that could be an issue. Because Pennsylvania is down 8 in terms of favorability, but that's also, that's compared to, I think that he can win Pennsylvania. Michigan, I think that he can win Michigan too, but he's down -10 in Michigan in terms of favorability. And he's only down Wisconsin -11. But when you compare that to New York and LA, he's down -28, -24 in Oregon, -28 in LA, -29 in Washington. Okay. That's like, this is -33 in Vermont, -23 in New York. So let's put it this way. Utah is a very conservative state. Utah and Florida have the same view of Trump. They're basically it's almost positive. And Ohio is -5, but neighboring Kentucky and Indiana have positive view, but West Virginia. So Very positive. Pennsylvania, -8. I mean, I'll live with it, -5. Michigan and Wisconsin. No, but you know what? If he gets Pennsylvania and he gets so here, let's reset the map. If you look at 2016, if Trump gets Pennsylvania and Democrats get well, there you go. If they get okay, so hold on one second. They get Michigan and Wisconsin. He gets Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Florida. Then he still wins. But let's say they get Ohio and he gets Michigan. They lose. So let's see what happens if this is a really tough one. If he gets Wisconsin and Michigan and Florida and they get Ohio and Pennsylvania, they win by 2 electoral college votes. Wow. That would not be good. My God almighty. But again, I mean, I don't think they're going to get Ohio and Pennsylvania. No, with the Green New Deal, AFL-CIO is against the Green New Deal. And they were for the Trans-Pacific Partnership. They're basically for everything that unions don't want. I don't see how they get, and I think that they're more likely to get Wisconsin and Michigan, and Trump is more likely to get Ohio and Pennsylvania. But I'm not, look, in 2016, Sticks, Six, and Hammer had the best, most accurate chart of anyone. He was amazing. So, I just don't think that... I don't think that Clinton is going to get the voter turnout. And that's the same thing I said in 2016. Democrats, Trump, you can say whatever you like about Trump. People are going to do everything possible to get to the polls. And they're going to do it because Trump is seen, better or worse, he's seen as somebody who's going up against a very judgmental, he's going up against a system, a paradigm of thought that always condemns, always judges. It's really interesting how they've convinced themselves. There's no recession. There's no military conflict that there's no, that we're like one of President Obama's or President Bush's failed quagmires. Never-ending quagmires. So it's like they've convinced themselves that he's the most horrendous person because of his words or his personality. They think his personality, and they pick and choose what they like. So the intelligence chiefs, the community, they're like, oh, well, how dare you disparage them? And it's like these people are disparaging the White House, the executive branch, but they don't disparage the intelligence chiefs who are part of the executive branch. That falls, all these intelligence officials are part of the executive branch, which is hilarious when you think about. It's kind of hilarious when you think about that they just pick and choose. They pick and choose what they like. And subordinate, hello. Hope all is well. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be... I don't think Clinton will win primarily because the voter turnout and the economy. The economy is good. And notice, like, from up until the lead up, like maybe 4 or 5 months, you will not see the progressive Congress people say one word about the Green New Deal. Oh my God, they will not say one word. In swing states, they don't want to hear about that stuff. Okay? They do not want to hear about that stuff. If the AFL-CIO is against what you're advocating, then you probably don't want to bring it up. Phoebe! I didn't see that. Phoebe Beach. Phoebe! Why aren't people concerned? Dems will cheat harder and more effectively in states she needs. They are desperate, blatant, no longer discreet now. I think that they probably will. I think that they will. But Trump still won. So it is difficult to... I think that they will, but I think it's difficult on a national stage to cheat. The way that David Plouffe stated Clinton did in 2008 in Nevada, where she literally engaged in voter suppression. That's what David Plouffe was saying. It's an Atlantic article. People were turned away because they didn't have ID. They were given wrong information. So it's really interesting how how they just spin everything. And that's, in the long term, it's actually good for the Democratic Party. Not that I care about what happens to the Democratic Party, but it's good that they lose again, because they're going to have to. This style of politics is very Bill and Hillary. It's very, very, very much this nasty, dirty, underhanded type of politics. And it'll be good if Democrats actually learn to break away from Madam Cyberhack and her hubby. It would be good for the Democratic Party, because then they could regroup. The problem is they don't have anyone that really, that people are really, really excited about. Spiker for the Dead, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Democrats don't have anyone that, there was a moment in time, if you look at 2016, where Bernie Sanders, even though, look, and God bless him, he is going through a lot right now. I'm voting for President Trump. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters. I wrote 100, according to the Washington Post, I wrote 100 articles saying Bernie is better than Clinton. In The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Cleveland Plain Dealer. And there was a moment where actually conservatives were saying, that the message of bringing home soldiers and that there were certain things appealing about Bernie. Now Democrats don't have anything like that. Now Tulsi Gabbard, yes. But Bernie got close. Tulsi, they're cheating, and they just will not let anywhere near the top of the DNC. Bernie got very, very close. And he didn't win, but he didn't win because it was rigged. That's what the DNC emails show. That's why they say it's such an overt, they blamed Russia for the DNC emails that were written by them, that they wrote, and they blamed Russia for letting us know. They blamed Russia for letting us know about these emails, which is, it's absurd. Makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. It really doesn't make any sense at all. That's right. It is going down. And look, Clinton running is going to be the best thing for the country. It's going to be the best thing for the country. And it'll vindicate everything I've been saying. There is no Democratic Party. People would tell me all the time, like, well, why do you focus so much? Like, what do you mean? You're talking about somebody that basically runs an entire political party. What do you mean? Why do I focus so much on the golden one, Madam Cyberhack? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. 642 people, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, tell everyone that there was one person, H.A. Goodman, there is one person who has been saying this since 2017. Read my Huffington Post article below in the pinned comment. And to my super chat, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And it's happening, people. It's happening. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you very, very much, everyone.